The afternoon sun was soft that day, filtering through the tall oak trees that lined the edge of my son's backyard. The grass was trimmed short, a little uneven in places, the kind of work that told me my grandson had been given the chore and rushed through it. I smiled at the sight. The air smelled faintly of charcoal, as if someone had grilled burgers the night before. It was quiet, too quiet for a family yard that usually held the sounds of laughter, chasing feet, and a barking dog. I walked in slowly, careful on the old stone path. My knees were stiff, but I had learned long ago not to rush them. The world has a way of slowing down as you age, and sometimes, if you let it, that pace feels almost like a gift. I had not announced my visit. I preferred it this way, showing up, knocking lightly, offering a plate of cookies, and seeing the surprise on their faces. That morning, I had baked a batch of oatmeal cookies with raisins, just like my late husband, Robert, used to love. I carried them in a small tin, warm under my arm. As I reached the backyard gate, I paused. I heard voices. They were low at first, carried on the wind. I tilted my head, thinking maybe my son, David, was on the phone. But then the words grew clearer. A sharp voice, hurried, impatient. Why is she even still alive? The words sank into me like cold water. My hand froze on the gate. For a long moment, I did not breathe. Alive, she. Who were they talking about? I pressed myself closer to the wooden gate and listened. Another voice, softer, one I recognized as my daughter-in-law, Karen. Don't say that, she's his mother. Then David's voice, low and heavy. I know, but it's hard, Karen. She needs so much, and sometimes I wonder if, maybe things would be easier if she wasn't here anymore. I felt the tin of cookies slip in my hands, almost falling, before I caught it. My heart thudded in my chest, not like a drum, but like something breaking. They were talking about me. For a moment, I thought of leaving quietly, walking back down the street, pretending I had never come. But something inside me held firm. I had spent a lifetime teaching my son to be brave, to face things head on. If I walked away now, I would be doing the opposite. So, I opened the gate. The sound made them turn. Their eyes widened. David's first, then Karen's. My grandson, Michael, was sitting in the grass with his toy trucks, looking between us in confusion. Mom, David said, standing quickly, brushing his hands on his jeans. I didn't know you were coming. I stepped forward, steady but slow, my hand still tight around the cookie tin. I know, I said. My voice surprised me. It wasn't sharp. It wasn't angry. It was calm, almost too calm. Karen looked away, guilty. David's face was pale. I sat down on the wooden bench near the patio table, easing myself onto it carefully. I heard what you said, I whispered. The silence that followed was heavy. Even the birds seemed to have stopped singing. My grandson pushed his little truck along the ground, oblivious to the storm above him. I looked at him and let the sight soothe me for a moment. Children carry no malice, only simple need. Food, safety, love. Finally, David sat across from me. His eyes, so much like his father's, refused to meet mine. Mom, I didn't mean. Yes, I said gently. You did. His shoulders slumped. Karen touched his arm, as if urging him to explain. I placed the tin on the table and opened it. The smell of cinnamon and raisins drifted out, warm and homely. I brought cookies, I said, though the gesture felt small now, fragile against the weight of what I had heard. David let out a shaky breath. It's been hard. You need so much care now. The doctor visits, the medication, the driving. You back and forth. Karen works, I work. Sometimes I feel like I'm failing everyone. And then I hear you at night, moving around, coughing, not sleeping, and I think, how much longer can this go on? How much longer can I do this? His words cut, but beneath them, I heard something else, exhaustion. Not cruelty, not hate, just a man stretched too thin, caught between duty and weariness. I closed my eyes for a moment and let the hurt settle like dust on an old shelf. Then I looked at him again. You know, when you were born, I didn't sleep for months. You cried every night. I was so tired, I thought I would break. But I never once wished you weren't alive. Because love doesn't ask for ease. It asks for endurance. David's lips pressed together, trembling slightly. I reached out my hand, the skin wrinkled, the veins blue beneath it. I know I'm not easy to care for now. I feel it too. My body is slowing down. I forget things. I stumble. I hate being a burden. But I am still here, David. I am still your mother. And I want to be here. For you, for Michael, for the family. Karen's eyes glistened, and she looked away, brushing her cheek. David finally met my gaze. For a long time, we sat like that, the air thick with things unspoken. Then, slowly, he reached across the table and took one of the cookies. His hand shook as he broke it in half. "I'm sorry, Mom," he said quietly. "I shouldn't have said that. I don't want you gone. I don't know how to carry it all sometimes." I nodded. "Then let me help you. Not as the mother I once was, but as the woman I am now. I can still teach Michael stories. I can still fold laundry, make soup, bake cookies. I can still remind you of the strength you have, even when you feel weak. Let me give what I still can, instead of you only seeing what I need." The tears that slipped down his face were small, but I noticed. He had always hated crying, even as a boy. But sometimes, the heart needs release more than the body needs pride. Karen stood and moved to my side, placing her arm gently around my shoulders. "We'll figure this out," she whispered. "Together." The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the yard. Michael ran up then, holding his toy truck high. "Grandma, look," he shouted, his face bright with joy. I smiled at him, my chest warming despite the ache. "That's wonderful, sweetheart." And in that moment, I knew the truth. Life isn't measured by ease, but by presence. By staying. By choosing to remain even when it's hard. I stayed that evening. We ate cookies. We talked about simple things. The weather, Michael's school, the neighbor's new dog. The heavy words faded into the air, replaced by something quieter, steadier. Love does not always roar. Sometimes, it whispers in the choice not to leave. And I didn't.